Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's definitely got people talking AIOps, artificial intelligence for IT operations, in case you're wondering about the acronym.
And we're not just talking about, automating a few tasks here and there. This is about like a fundamental shift, a real change in how IT systems are actually managed, all thanks to AI.
Exactly. So you sent over some fascinating stuff, a couple of academic papers in that Algomox blog post, and I got to admit, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole a bit.
Well, that's what I'm here for, right? To
Yeah,
help us make sense of it all and really pull out those key takeaways.
exactly. So before we get lost in the weeds of algorithms and all that, let's just take a step back. What's the why behind AIOps?
Yeah.
What problem is this tech actually trying to solve?
Okay, so imagine for a second, just picture the IT landscape today. It's like we've gone from this, I don't know, well-organized library to this sprawling digital city, constantly growing, changing, with information just flying around at incredible speeds.
And instead of, neatly labeled bookshelves, we have this tangled mess of cloud services, microservices, apps, all these things depending on each other in ways that are, let's face it, really hard to track.
Yeah, precisely. And that's where things get tricky, really tricky for IT professionals. Traditional monitoring tools, even the ones with all the bells and whistles, they're just not keeping up. They're drowning in data, but they're struggling to get real insights.
It's like trying to find, I don't know, a single misfiled book in the Library of Congress. You know something's wrong, but finding the source of the problem just feels impossible.
Exactly. And that is where AIOps comes in. It's kind of like this promise of being, the air traffic control for this whole digital city, using AI, using machine learning to bring order to the chaos, spot those patterns that we might miss, and even predict problems before they happen.
It's like having a whole team of digital detectives working in the background, constantly analyzing, connecting the dots, and alerting you when something seems off.
Yeah. And think about the impact, right? We hear about these major service outages all the time. AIOps could potentially prevent a lot of them, which would save companies so much time, money, and just a ton of headaches.
Okay, so we've set the scene. AIOps is here to wrangle the chaos of these increasingly complex IT systems. But how does it actually work in practice? You mentioned incident management earlier, and that seems to be a big focus.
It really is. And this research paper, AIOps Solutions for Incident Management, it really dives into this. It talks about 6 key capabilities of AIOps, each one addressing a critical stage in the incident management lifecycle.
Ooh, I love a good framework. Walk us through. What's the first step in this AI detective work?
So it all begins with perception. Picture AIOps as this omnipresent observer. It's gathering data from everywhere in your IT environment, logs, metrics, network traffic. Think of it as the digital footprints of your systems.
Okay, so gathering all that information is step one. But what good is a mountain of data if you can't make sense of it? How does AIOps go from just collecting data to getting those aha moments?
Right, that's where the location ability comes in. And this is where it gets interesting. Imagine being able to pinpoint exactly where a problem is happening, even in a system with thousands of moving parts. That's what AIOps can do.
So it's not just saying, hey, your website is slow. It's like this specific server, maybe even this line of code, is causing the issue.
Exactly. And it does this by creating what's called a topology map of your IT environment. Basically, a digital blueprint that outlines all the connections and dependencies between everything.
So if one service goes down, AIOps can instantly see the ripple effect. It can identify all the other components that might be affected. It's like in those detective movies where they've got photos of all the suspects and connections strung across a giant board.
That's a great analogy. And it's this real-time visibility that lets AIOps go beyond just reacting to problems. You can start to predict them, which brings us to the prediction capability.
Okay, prediction. Now we're getting futuristic. Is AIOps actually telling the future now?
Well, not predicting the future exactly, but it's using data to anticipate potential issues. Remember all that data it's been gathering. AIOps analyzes it, looking for patterns and trends to try and get ahead of problems.
So instead of waiting for a server to crash, AIOps might say, hey, this server is showing signs of strain based on its past usage, and give you time to fix it before it affects anyone.
Exactly. And that leads us to another super important aspect of incident management prioritization.
Right, because some incidents need, like all hands on deck, and others are, you can get to them when you get to them.
Exactly. And that's another area where AIOps can really help. Instead of bombarding IT teams with a million alerts, it's more like, okay, it figures out what needs attention first.
So does it look at things like how many users are affected, which systems are involved, even what time of day it is. Like, I'm guessing a server hiccup at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday is less urgent than one at, say, peak business hours.
Oh, wow. Exactly. All those factors play a role, and AI ops can take them all into account so teams can focus on what's most critical. It's about, being strategic, not just putting out fires all day long. And once you've got your priorities straight, well, then it's time to figure out what's really going on, get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, because anyone can put out a fire, but if you don't know what started it, it's just going to happen again.
This is where that root cause analysis, that deep dive you mentioned, comes in, right? Absolutely. And this is where AI ops gets really powerful. Imagine sifting through, I don't know, terabytes of data in seconds. Logs, metrics, even correlating events with things like, maybe there was a network outage or a sudden spike in traffic. AI ops can connect those dots.
So it's like having a super detective who can rewind time, see everything that led up to the incident, and tell you exactly when and where things went wrong.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And here's the best part. AI ops doesn't just show you the problem, it can often suggest solutions too.
So we're not just talking about reacting to issues, but actually getting ahead of them and maybe even automating some of those fixes.
Exactly. The ultimate goal is to create these self-healing systems that can identify and address problems before anyone even notices. And that brings us to the last capability they talked about in the paper, mitigation.
Okay, so after all that analysis and prediction, AI ops can actually step in and fix things. What does that look like in real life?
Well, it could be something as simple as, restarting a service or maybe adjusting some resources. Or it could be more complex, like automatically spinning up a new server in the cloud or redirecting traffic to avoid a bottleneck.
And all this happens on its own.
Well, the level of automation, it really depends. How sophisticated is the AI ops system? How comfortable is the organization with letting AI take the wheel? But the idea is to automate as much as possible so IT professionals can focus on, the bigger picture.
It's all about working smarter, not harder, right? The more you can automate those routine tasks, the more time IT teams have to focus on, innovation or really optimizing things.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to another important aspect of AI ops, how it can change the way companies handle those service level agreements, those SLAs.
Ah, yes, SLAs. Those promises we make to customers about system uptime, performance, all that, those can definitely keep IP teams up at night.
Absolutely. And if an SLA is broken, well, that can cost a company a lot of money and damage their reputation. But what if you could keep an eye on SLA compliance constantly, even predict potential issues, and actually prevent those breaches from happening in the first place? That's what AIOps offers, and that Algomox blog post really highlighted that.
So instead of waiting for, an angry customer to call about a website being down, AIOps could say, hey, these metrics are heading in the wrong direction, better do something, and give you a chance to fix it before it impacts the customer.
Exactly. It's like having an early warning system for your SLAs, always analyzing, looking for patterns, and giving you a heads up before things become a major problem.
That sounds like a complete game changer for IT.
Yeah.
But let's be real, no technology is perfect. What are some of the challenges, maybe even potential downsides, of using AI ops?
Good point. It's still a pretty new field, and there are definitely hurdles to overcome. One of the big ones is data quality. AI, at its core, relies on good data.
So garbage in, garbage out, as they say. If we feed the AI bad data, it's not going to give us reliable insights.
Exactly. And in IT, with so much data coming from everywhere, making sure that data is accurate and consistent is a real challenge. If it's incomplete or just wrong, the AI can draw the wrong conclusions and make bad recommendations.
Which could actually make things worse, not better. And, the research paper touched on this, how sometimes experienced IT professionals, they're a bit skeptical of these AI models.
Yeah, there's a healthy dose of skepticism, and rightfully so. These are people who understand how complex these systems are, and they know that AI can't predict everything.
So it's not about replacing human expertise, but more like giving humans better tools, AI-powered insights, to do their jobs even better.
Yes. It's about humans and AI working together. And that leads us to another crucial point, that the AI needs to be transparent. If we're going to trust these systems with critical decisions, we need to understand how they're making them.
We can't just blindly trust it, right?
Yeah.
We need to know, okay, why is the AI suggesting this?
Right. And that's especially important in incident management because, these decisions, they can have a huge impact, not just on the technical side, but for the business as a whole. Customer trust. All of that.
Absolutely. So explainability is key if we want people to really buy into using these systems. But the research also talked about something else, how important it is for academia and industry to work together more closely. Why is that so crucial for AIOps?
Well, there's a disconnect right now. You have these incredibly smart researchers in academia, but they're not always focused on the day-to-day challenges that companies are facing in their IT operations.
It's like having, I don't know, all the ingredients for this amazing meal, but the chefs and the farmers aren't talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly. We need to bridge that gap. The researchers need to be developing solutions to real-world problems, and the businesses need to be involved in, helping to shape the research itself.
So more partnerships, shared research, maybe even making some of these cutting-edge AI models open source.
All of that. Imagine researchers and companies working together, sharing data, sharing what works, even building AI models together that the whole industry can benefit from. That's how we really move AI ops forward.
And when AIOps advances, everybody wins, right? Businesses get more reliable systems, customers have better experiences. It's good all around.
Exactly, a win-win for everyone in the digital world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AIOps, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
AI ops is a powerful tool. It really is. It has the potential to completely change how IT operates, but it's not, a magic solution. You need a plan, you need good data, and you need humans and AI working together, and you need to be ready to adapt and evolve as things change.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And like with any journey into the unknown, you got to be excited, but also cautious. AIOps isn't about replacing humans. It's about empowering them, giving them the tools and the insights they need to navigate this increasingly complex digital world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a fascinating time to be in IT, and the future of AI ops is wide open.
It really is. And for our listeners, keep digging into this, keep asking questions. Whether you're an IT pro or just starting out, understanding AIOps is going to be crucial in the years to come. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,